Hindu University of America. And thank you for joining us on this special open house on the Valmiki Ramayana, lessons from the Valmiki Ramayana. Our special guest is Shantanu Gupta, who is now joining us. Thank you, Shantanu ji. And thank you everyone for joining us from around the world. If you haven't already, put your name and where you're joining us from the chat, where you're joining us from. We got Toronto and Dublin and India and Trinidad and Tobago. I'm in Los Angeles, Oslo, Sydney, Mumbai, of course, well represented. Thank you everyone for joining us on this special open house on lessons from the Valmiki Ramayana. So there's so much to it. And when Valmiki wrote the Ramayana, right, he was speaking across time to people at different ages, value systems. The Ramayana was not merely history, but an itihasa. And the more I looked into itihasa and the kind of archetypal history that it represents, it transcends and subsumes the Western categories of history and mythology, right? They continue to project their understanding of history onto us, but we have this deep, rich itihasa, with the foundation of the Ramayana, and Shantanu ji in this webinar is going to get into that. We're going to look at the lessons that the Ramayana holds for us today in our own lives, how we can attune ourselves to its timeless call. And then we're going to introduce the course where Shantanu ji is going to go deep into this week after week. And so with that, let me give Shantanu ji a quick introduction as we get started. So Shantanu ji is the founder of the Ramayana School. He's an Indian author, TEDx speaker, and a political analyst. You probably may have seen him on TV debates. I don't know if he's on daily, but he's on on regular basis on leading channels of India. He's a published author. I think he's working on a new book right now. He might get into that. Also on Yogi Adityanath. So he's prolific in so many different mediums, and we're honored at Hindu University of America to have him as one of our continuing education faculty professors who's using our platform to share all of this knowledge with you. He himself has actually got an engineering degree from GB Pant University in India, management education, master's in policy and politics from IDS. He's been at the University of Sussex in the United Kingdom, and Shantanu ji has worked for decades as a process and management consultant in many cities in India, Switzerland, Cyprus, Hungary, Israel. And again, we're glad to have him with us today at Hindu University of America, teaching this wonderful course on the Ramayana. So Shantanu ji, with that, please, I'll hand it off to you. And I know you like to have it interactive, so please, everyone, be on your toes, be ready to answer questions, and let's have some fun with this webinar.
Ankurji, namaskar. Namaskar from India, namaskar from Noida, Uttar Pradesh. So I will, as Ankurji told you, I take it interactive. So I'm pushing a link in the chat window, and I'm also sharing my screen simultaneously. So can you all get on that link? And also, can some of you just prompt me, is my screen in my window visible?
Yeah.
Ankurji, is it visible? Okay, beautiful. You are able to see the lovely artwork my team has done for me. Yeah, nice. Okay. Okay, so I'm assuming you are all on the link, and on the link you will see the same artwork, but once I will show you some quiz questions, some questions where I want your responses, you will be able to answer on this link. I am pasting this multiple times on the chat window. Okay, so I'm assuming all of you are on the link. Okay, so we call it Leadership Lessons from Ramayana. In our full-fledged course, almost a 10 weeks course, we take a detail of it. We take the Ramayana from Balakand to Yuddhakand, and then we also talk about the historicity of Ramayana. Why is Ramayana written? And the whole Falashruti of Ramayana. Today, we will just touch upon what all we will cover in a 10 weeks course. Okay, so just to get familiar with my link, can you just tell me which city, state, country are you living in right now? From where have you logged in? And not in the chat, on my link. Wow, Norway, Bangalore, okay. You say Washington, Brooklyn. This exercise, Ankurji, is always a good geography exercise for me, Okay. Because many of the names even I don't know, and I have to go back and I take a snapshot of this and I go back and search Ohio, Milwaukee. Uh-huh. Oh, wow. And the tool does it like this. If the same word is written multiple times, that word will be a little bigger. So India, USA, California, San Jose, Canada, these are most frequently written responses. Wow. Lovely, lovely jumping of words. Beautiful. Venkat ji, Mudit ji, if you can come on the link, that'll be lovely. If you can come on the link, YP Gupta ji. Yeah, because we'll do a quiz round also. It'll be fun to participate on the link. Okay. So I got the sense. We have people from multiple places. Okay. Now tell me, I'm sure you all know the basic story of Ramayana, right? Ramji was born, got married to Mata Sita, right? He got exiled. He went to jungle along with Mata Sita and Lakshmanji. Then there was a kidnapping by Ravana. There was a war between Ram and Ravana, and Ramji won. Like the basic storyline, right? Okay. Okay. All of you keep responding. Keep responding. Keep responding. I'm giving you the link. Oh, wow. The 122 people on the webinar. I'm so happy. I'm so happy, Ankurji. Beautiful. Oh, on a Sunday morning for you guys, right? For most of you. A lot of you from different part of the world, but I see a lot of people from America. Sunday morning, I'm sure there must be various competing choices on a Sunday morning, right? And you chose to spend your time with Valmiki Ramayana. Beautiful that is. Beautiful that is. Okay. So 98% of you know the story. But now tell me, from where did you learn your Ramayana? From where did you learn your Ramayana? Was it Ramanand Sagarji's The Classic Cult TV serial? Or you read the 24,000 shlokas of Valmiki Ramayana? Or another version, Tulsi Ramayana? Or some comic story book, Amar Chitrakatha? Or the very famous Indian tradition, the oral tradition, right? Through your parents, through your teachers, through your friends, through your grandparents. Yeah, Ashish ji, Anil ji, I request you if you can come on this link that I'm giving in the chat window.
Yeah, the link that Shantanu dropped in the chat is easy. Just click it. As you can see, we have 52 people in the Mentimeter. I might start using this instead of the Zoom poll. This is cool to see live in the update like this. So thank you. Please do click that link that Shantanu dropped in the chat.
So interesting. So the biggest bar here are Ramanand Sagarji serial and parents and grandparents. So almost 60% of it. See, this makes me happy and a little sad. Happy that, okay, you have multiple source of consuming Ramayana, but a little sad that only 7% of you have read the original Valmiki Ramayana. Only 13% of you have read the Tulsi Ramayana. So that's my idea through this course today for next 30-40 minutes and the longer course. I hope many of you will join for the 10 weeks all Saturday course. We'll try to inculcate this interest in you so that you will read whole of Ramayana. And I'll tell you why you should be reading it. Okay. Okay, so when you know so much Ramayana, let's do a quick quiz, right? We all love quiz, right? Okay, I'll ask for a name. So do enter your name so that we know, once we'll know who are the top 10 people, we know their names, right? Keep joining, keep joining, keep joining. Okay, my Ramayana is way from India. You could open a bookstore on Amazon, huh? Beautiful. Okay. Okay, so let's do a small, quick 7-8 question quiz. Who wrote original Ramayana? Just tell me, not in the chat. Don't give the answer in the chat, please. Rishi Valmiki, Rishi Vashishta, Rishi Vedavyasa, Rishi Vishwamitra. And me and Ankurji both have spoken that name already. 96% Rishi Valmiki. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so you passed the first test. Your Ramanand Sagarji's Ramayana and your grandparents and parents were right. Valmiki ji wrote the original Ramayana. Okay, tell me one thing. Was Rishi Valmiki contemporary of Lord Rama? Well, meaning were they occurring, living at the same time? The author and the hero of the story? Were they on earth at the same time? They were at the same time. They were talking to each other. There were conversation between both of them. They were contemporaries, right? Like I'm the biographer of Yogi Adityanath. We both are surviving on the earth at the same time. Similarly, Rishi Valmiki, who biographed about Ramchandraji, was living at the same time. Okay, beautiful. Tell me now on your screens, let's see how is Ramayana structured. Okay, first tell me in which language is Valmiki Ramayana written? In which language is it written? Is it in Sanskrit or Pali or Awadhi or Hindi? In which language is Valmiki Ramayana written? It's written in Sanskrit. It's written in Sanskrit. Yeah. And I know HUA run courses around Sanskrit. You should join those courses also. It's an amazing language. Beautiful. Okay. Okay. So next question. You all are playing beautifully well. Keshav Goyalji, not on the chat, please. Not on the chat, please. On the link. Valmiki Ramayana is divided in 7 parts, right? What are these parts called? Sargas, shlokas, kants, or parvas? Valmiki Ramayana starting from 1 kant to 7th kant, from Balakand to Uttarkand. Exactly, Balakand to Uttarkand, 7 kants, and it's divided into 7 kants. Now tell me that the book is divided into 7 kants. That's fine. That's fine. But tell me, how many shlokas it has? How many shlokas? Overall, in all these 7 parts together, Valmiki Ramayana has about how many shlokas? 108, 1008, 24,000, or 5,000? 24,000 it is. 24,000 it is. Okay, on chat with me, do a small calculation. Let's say we spend daily 1 hour, right? This is our new year resolution for this new English calendar year. Let's take a resolution. We will spend at least 1 hour reading Ramayana as a family, and in 1 hour, let's say we spend 5-6 minutes per shloka. So let's say we do 20 shlokas a day, right? When I say shloka, meaning reading the shloka, and most of us don't know Sanskrit, so reading is English or Hindi or whichever translation, right? That will take 4-5 minutes. So let's say I do 20 shlokas a day. So how many days will it take? If I do 20 shlokas a day, how many days it will take? 1200 days, right? 1200 days is how many years? 1200 days is how many years? 4 years, right? Assuming you are reading 1 hour a day for 365 days, right? Every day, winter, summer, rain, holidays, every day. And then it'll take 4 hours. Oh, 4 years, sorry. 4 years, right? We'll try to encapsulate that 4 years in this next 10 weeks. I'm just trying to give you the magnitude of the text. That's why I made you do this calculation. Okay. Let me move on to the next question. 2-3 more questions, and then we'll jump to the session. During our sessions also, when you will join the course also, this quiz will continue. This quiz will continue from where we leave here. In which Kand of Valmiki Ramayana, Mata Sita was kidnapped? The whole story got turned on his head, right? It was almost 13 years into the exile. They were about to finish their exile. And Aranyakand, in Aranyakand. And what is the meaning of Aranya? Tell me in the chat window, what is the meaning of Aranya? Aranyakand, while I sip water. Forest, exactly, the jungle Kand, the forest Kand, the Vana. Exactly, beautiful, beautiful, lovely set of people. All of you, I love to have you, all of you in the course. Ritvika ji, Namita ji, Jayashri ji, Prabhat ji, Apurva, Varun, Manisha, all of you, do join the course. We'll have lovely 10 weeks together. Okay. Now tell me on your screens, in which Khan Rama is born? Our hero has to take birth, right? In which Khan did our hero of the story take birth? Yuddhakand, Ayodhyakand, Balakand, Aranyakand. In fact, the name is a little intuitive. Just by the name, you can guess it. You can guess just by the name of the Kand. Balakand, right? Bala means Balak, childhood. So his childhood was captured in Balakand by Rishi Valmiki. Now, the last question of the quiz, before we move on to the session, in which Kand Rama defeated Ravana, right? That's the whole purpose, that how good won over evil. In which Kand did that happen? Balakand, Yuddha Kand, Kishkinda Kand, Ayodhya Kand. That name is also very intuitive, right? Yuddha Kand. Yuddha Kand, war happened. Beautiful. You all played beautifully well. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have all of you on the course. But let's see. How did we do? Menti throws top 10 people on the board. Badri Narayan, Ankita, Jay Shri ji. Beautiful, beautiful. Claps for Badri Narayan ji. Beautiful. With 7270. Beautiful. Lovely. Okay. So this is one teaser of a course, that this will be the constant feature of the course. Now let me establish the whole Ramayana landscape for you. Valmiki Ramayana, we know there are multiple Ramayans. There is Tulsi Ramayana, there is Kalidas Ramayana, there is Kamman Ramayana, there is Adhyatma Ramayana. You know, there is Ramayana outside India also. The national book of Thailand is Ramayana. It's called Ramakian, right? It's a Buddhist country. Indonesia, 88% people follow Islam. They have their own Ramayana. It's called Kakawin Ramayana, right? Philippines has its own Ramayana. Sri Lanka has its own Ramayana, right? Legend of Ramayana is beyond religions, beyond boundaries, right? It has 7 kans, 645 chapters. They are called sargas in Ramayana, and 24,000 shlokas. Balakand, Ayodhya Kand, Aranya Kand, Kishkinda Kand, Sundar Kand, Yuddha Kand, and Uttar Kand. A beautiful, beautiful text. There is no human emotion, there is no human interaction that is not captured in this text, right? And that's why it becomes a framework. Ankurji, I keep telling my participant, it becomes a framework for decision making, right? As young people, as grown-up people, as old people, in every walk of life, we take decisions, right? We take decisions almost every day, every minute, right? Simple decisions like what to eat today, what to wear today, what to watch on TV today, what to watch on Netflix today, to more complex decisions. Which country will I live in, right? Whom will I marry? Where will I work? What will I do in my life, right? In a conflicting situation, what will I do? So we take simpler decisions to complex decisions. And there is some inherent framework based on our upbringing, based on our culture, based on which we take those decisions, right? Ramayana gives you a very strong ethical, moral framework, a dharmic framework to take those decisions every day. That's the simple takeaway. That's the most simple and most robust takeaway from Ramayana, right? That's helping me from, and a lot of my thousands of my participants from last couple of years. Okay, so with that, we use a couple of tools during our 10 weeks course. A lot of creative tools. Okay, now let me start with one lesson, leadership lessons. We do many of them during our session. Let me discuss 2 or 3 today. We'll start with Balakand. And do you know this picture I've taken myself? Can you guess where is this picture from? I clicked it from my mobile. It's an easy guess. It's an easy guess. This painter was painting this Bala form, the childhood form of Babita ji. Beautiful Ayodhya. This is from Ayodhya. So you're watching Ayodhya right now live, right? Right. See, once this Corona thing is settled, right, or even more settled, how many of you want to come to Ayodhya and travel to Ayodhya, right? Yeah, many of you. I'm sure. We should organize that. I think Hindu University of America should organize one 10 days course in Ayodhya sometime, right? That'll be lovely, isn't it?
Well, one of the things we are, once this COVID things get settled, we have a study abroad program. It's not a whole quarter, but like a month and a half. And we had a plan before COVID. We're going to reevaluate it. But yeah, I think Ayodhya is going to be a stop on that, but that's a whole different thing. But appreciate where your brain goes, right? This is the opportunity of Hindu University of America to bring people together from around the world to then celebrate, acknowledge, and share. So thank you for that. Yeah, I'm down. I'm coming to Ayodhya for sure.
Yeah, that'll be so lovely because I know a lot of ashrams. We can make stay arrangements, and 1 month we'll do yoga in the morning, meditation in the morning, yagnas in the evening, aarti in the evening, and the whole day we'll spend learning Ramayana from me and from a lot of scholars there. Wow, I'm just feeling so high just on the feeling of that. Okay, so that's Ayodhya for you. Now in Balakand, these two boys, Ram and Lakshman, are grown up, right? They were trained by Rishi Vashist as a classroom training in the Gurukul. Then come Rishi Vishwamitra. Vishwamitra says, I'm taking these two because a lot of demons are troubling me, right? They're troubling my puja, they're troubling my yagnas. So I'm taking Ram and Lakshman to eliminate these demons. Okay. So tell me, who was the first Rakshasa Ram and Lakshmana faced? And I call it a crisis. This is the first crisis, the real-time crisis. Because till now, they were at their father's place, right? They were in a mahal nicely. They were learning bow and arrow, but on a target, on an artificial target, not on a real enemy. So the real enemy, the first real enemy they face is Tarka. Beautiful. This is the first crisis they faced in life. And through this example, I want to drive a point that how Rama was facing his crisis, right? Before that, let me pose a crisis to you and touch your heart and give me a real answer. Don't give me a goody nice answer. Give me a real answer, what you would have done. And don't worry, I will not get to know who is answering what. I just get to know what the group is answering together, right? So you are about to miss your flight. You are in New Delhi. You have a flight to catch to USA. You are getting late. You have 4 of you. The flight costed you almost $10,000. What will you do? The traffic challan in Delhi will be how much? $20? $10? So it's a $10 versus $10,000 fight. Be practical. Tell me, touch your heart and tell me, what would you do? You're missing a flight. $10,000. It's a lot of money.
Rashmiji says panic stress. Yes,
panic stress. But what do you do out of these options, right? Amazing options. Okay. So 22% of you will follow the traffic rule, miss your flight and miss your $10,000. Book another ticket, which will be maybe even costlier on the window. And almost rest of you, almost 75% of you will do something, right? You will jump the red light, overspeed, U-turn, you'll do something. This is how the modern Ramas, if I call all of you modern Ram and Sitas, handle your crisis. Let's see how Ramji handled his crisis, right? So Ramji is there, right? Just imagine you are Ramji. Ramji and Lakshmanji are going with Vishwamitra, and Vishwamitra says, Ram, this is Tarka. Ramji takes the best of the arrow, stretches the arrow, the bow, and targets Tarka. And he says, no. He says, I cannot eliminate her. And Vishwamitra said, why? This is the purpose I got you here. He said, no, she's a woman. I'm being told, I'm being taught, my gurus taught me, don't hurt a woman, don't attack a woman. He almost gets like a Arjuna-like dilemma, what Arjuna got in the battlefield when Lord Krishna has to deliver Bhagavad Gita. And he said, no, she's a woman, I cannot eliminate her, I cannot hurt her, right? And then Vishwamitra ji and Ramji has a conversation. So Ram's moral compass is still on, though the crisis is standing in front. And Tarka will not wait for long. If you will not eliminate her, she will gulp you in, right? She's a ferocious demon. She will not wait for long. And Vishwamitra ji and Ramji has a quick conversation. Vishwamitra ji said, what you're thinking is right. Your dilemma is right. Even I teach the same to my disciples, my children, my students. But here, Tarka is only in the body of a woman. She doesn't have the qualities of a woman. She doesn't have the daya, karuna, mamta. She doesn't have the compassion. She doesn't have the motherhood feeling. She kills children. She kills women. She kills men. She kills rishis. She destroys pujas. So in the larger dharma, in the larger good, is okay to eliminate her. So when Ramchandraji's moral compass got satisfied, then only he launched the arrow. What I want to derive that uphold highest of the moral standards even in the time of crisis. The moral standards are not for good days, that, oh, I'll follow all my moral principles on good days, but on bad days, I'll do what I want to do, right? See, we are talking about Ramayana almost after 14,000 years. As per Dr. Nilesh Yog's dating, Ramayana happened 14,000 years back. So after 14,000 years back, we are talking about Ramchandraji not because he was some super practical guy. right? Not because he was tactical, right? Because how in that 14 years of journey, he transformed himself from King Ram to Bhagwan Ram, right? His father was equally good king, but we don't pray King Dashrath. His children were good king, Love Kush. We don't pray Love Kush. They are good kings. We pray King Ram as Lord Ram or as Bhagwan Ram because of the qualities that he has shown, right? This is one. Okay, let me just take you to some Ramayana tourism, right? So Ramji got married to Mata Sita later. When they came back, someone gifted them Kanak Bhavan. Can you tell me the meaning of Kanak? Can you tell me the meaning of Kanak? Ritvika ji, can you access the presentation? Maybe you join the 10 weeks course. Everything is yours. Gold, yeah. Gold, exactly. So this gold looking Bhavan Mahal palace was gifted by Mata Kekai to Ram and Sita ji. So earlier they were living in Dashrath Mahal. Now they started living in Kanak Bhavan. But the same Kekai was not very good to them some moments later. Let's quickly jump to Ayodhya Kand. So normally we spend almost 1.5 to 2 hours on one Kand. Today in a webinar, I'm just giving you a taste of how the course will go. So we are jumping and giving you some sense, right? Okay. So Rama was declared as chosen as a king by the whole court. All the kings gathered, all the nearby kings gathered, and they chose that Rama should be the next king of kingdom of Kosala, of Ayodhya, of Ishwaku dynasty. But now comes Manthara and Kekai. They plot a plan. Kekai asks for 2 forgotten boons that Dashratha has given long back. And she asks for 2 things, that instead of Ram, make my son Bharat as a king and send Rama to jungle for next 14 years. Now Dashrath has in double minds. He has choice. Shall he follow Kekai's demand? Shall he follow Kekai's demand or shall he not? Because the boon, the promise between Kekai and Dashrath is not known to anyone. It's not a written document. It's not a agreement which you can take it to the court, right? It is just a verbal promise that Dashratha has given to Kekai some years back that you can ask for a boon, and no one is a testimony to it. So if King Dashratha go back on the promise, nobody will really mind, right? So let me turn all of you as Dashrath for a time being, right? Imagine you are King Dashrath. What will you really do? Again, answer honestly. Imagine you are King Dashrath. You don't have any signed agreement with Kekai, just a verbal promise that no one knows. And Kekai asks for these 2 very weird demands. What will you do? You are King Dashrath. What will you do? Because Ayodhya will lose such an amazing king. You will lose your son for so long, but Ayodhya will lose such an amazing king. What will you do in the larger interest? Or you will say, okay, Kekai, I will follow the promise, but ask something better. You can't be like whimsical. You can't say a chosen king should be sent to jungle for no reason, right? Okay. So 22% of you or 25% of you will follow the promise, and 75% of you will duck the promise on various counts. Okay. And you are my modern Dashrathas. And now let me tell you what Dashratha did, what the real Dashratha did. The real Dashratha, and let me recite that in Tulsi Ramayan's Chaupai, Raghukul Reet Sada Chaliyai, Pran Jai Par Vachan Na Jai. Meaning, I am the descendant of Raghu, I am the descendant of Ishwaku, right? This is a tradition in our dynasty that we are ready to give our lives, but we are not ready to go back on a given promise. Promise is a promise is a promise. If I as a king will not keep the promise, then the legend of promise keeping will dilute. Who will follow promises? I know this will pain me personally. I'll not able to live. I'll not able to breathe. I'll not able to eat without Rama. That much I love Rama. My city Ayodhya, my kingdom Ayodhya will lose such an amazing king. But if I don't keep promise today, no one will remember the legend of keeping promises, right? And that's why Dashratha kept the promise. And after a couple of months, he literally died because of that. In that sorrow, he stopped sleeping, he stopped eating, his breath was discontinuous, and he died after some time, right? That was the legend of those times. And that's what we can learn from the character of Rama, character of Sita, character of Hanumanji. We have not arrived. Even from Ravana, we can learn a lot of things, right? So this is how we divide the whole story of Ramayana is almost 20-25 sub-stories. Conversation between two characters. And these two conversation between two characters, we derive a lot of these life lessons, which will create a framework for us for decision making, right? So this is one part of our course. Another part of our course, this will spend almost 6 weeks from Balakand to Yuddhakand. We'll spend around 6 weeks in taking out these nuggets, taking out these leadership lessons, dividing, dissecting the story, analyzing each character, what he did, what she did, what he behaved, what she behaved, what decision they took, and why they took it. This will spend around 6 Saturdays, right? Then we will also follow, there is something called a geography of Ramayana. See, you can make a lot of queries to Ramayana. One query is what are the leadership lessons in Ramayana. One query is what is the geography of Ramayana. What is the fauna and flora in Ramayana? What mountains, river came along, right? So it started from Ayodhya, Prayag, Chitrakoot, Panchvati, Kishkinda, Rameshwaram, right? Now, quickly tell me a couple of questions. Where is Ayodhya? In which Indian state is it currently? In which Indian state is Ayodhya today? UP, Uttar Pradesh. Where is Prayag? Prayag. Okay, where is Panchvati? Where is Panchvati? You can look at the screen and the screen is giving a direct hint. Where is Panchvati? Panchvati is in Maharashtra. Panchvati is in Maharashtra, from where the kidnapping happened. Where is Kishkinda? Where is Kishkinda? Where Ramji met Sugriv and Hanumanji. Kishkinda is in Karnataka. Beautiful, beautiful, lovely set of participants. Okay, where is Rameshwaram? From where the bridge started, the Ram Setu started. Okay, and do you know the point in Tamil Nadu, the exact point from where the bridge started? The name of that exact point in Rameshwaram in Tamil Nadu? I'm waiting. Aha, Dhanush Kodi. Who was that? Narayan Ramji. Beautiful. That's a tough one. Namita. Beautiful. All of you, come to the course. We'll have fun. Beautiful. Okay. Now take your Google Maps. I'm sure all of you use Google Maps. Can you find out the distance in kilometers from Ayodhya of UP and Dhanush Kodi of Tamil Nadu? Ayodhya of UP and Dhanush Kodi of Tamil Nadu. Can you find the distance in kilometers? Please, on your Google Maps. If you're not able to, okay, the question is also in front of the screen. The distance between Ayodhya and Dhanush Kodi. And these names are mentioned. The names like Ayodhya, names like Dhanush Kodi are mentioned in Ramayana, which is written 14,000 years back. And today, in a modern software like Google Maps, you can trace the real distances. So if someone says, "Oh, Ramayana sounds fictional," I'm like, "Okay, come on." Like the names mentioned in Ramayana, every name mentioned in Ramayana can be traced back to modern geography, modern topography. Beautiful. 24, yeah, almost 2,500 kilometers. This is how much Ramchandraji walked in those 14 years. Beautiful. So this is the second part. We do a lot of geography of Ramayana. We spend a lot of time explaining, understanding the geography of Ramayana. Okay. One third part that we do on our courses is critical thinking around characters, right? So you tell me, who is the most inspiring character from Valmiki Ramayana as per you? And Ankurji, here I want some of maybe 3-4 people who can just share their thoughts. If you can unmute them, you can unmute them, right?
Yeah. So if you, okay. I got a couple people who have their hands raised previously, but if you raise your hand now on who you think is the most inspiring character, was that VJG, Madan, and Mangala? VJ.
Okay. Let's wait for 2-3 minutes. Let's people first type in.
Okay.
First keep typing in. Yeah. I just want to see the range of people you want. And if you write the same name, the same spelling multiple times, that name will become big. So Hanumanji.
Please type it in the Mentimeter through the link. Some people are typing it in the chat. So please, that's what. If you type it in the Mentimeter, then it shows up on the screen that Shantanu Ji is sharing and it gets bigger.
Yeah. Please type in the Mentimeter. Beautiful, beautiful. Now you can unmute 2, 3 people. I just want to understand from them why. Okay, if they've written Ramji, Hanumanji, Sitaji, Bharatji, I'm seeing many names, but why?
I've got 4 people who I've asked to unmute: Vijayji, Mangalaji, Ritvika ji, and Jayashree ji.
If you can put your video on while speaking, that'll be lovely.
Well, I can do that. Then I would have to promote them to a panelist. I can do that as well. They have to accept, though. If you don't want to accept and just want to talk, go ahead.
Okay, they can talk then. If that's the procedure, they can talk quickly. Okay,
Vijayji, Jayashree ji, you're unmuted. Please go ahead.
Can you hear me? This is Jayashree.
Yeah, beautiful. Jayashree ji, tell me, who is your favorite character and why?
Hanuman.
And why so?
Because of the devotion.
Can you want to expand?
Sure. This devotion can be for anybody, your parents, God, or elders, anybody.
Beautiful,
so he's the epitome of devotion.
Exactly. And you know, whenever there was a trouble, right, Hanumanji was the one who took out Ramchandraji out of trouble. So can you imagine someone who's taking out the god from trouble, right? That's why we pray Hanumanji, as he's considered Vigna Harta, right? Who's take all the vignas, all the problems away. When you need Sanjeevani Bhuti, Hanumanji. You want to search Mata Sita, Hanumanji. So every trouble came to Ramji, Lakshmanji on the team, and Hanumanji was there. Beautiful. Thank you. Anyone else? Anyone else who thought of some other name?
Let me go. This is Prabhat Takriwal from Minneapolis.
Yeah, Prabhatji, tell me.
Yeah, I put down Ram because he's playing several characters, not only as a king, but as a brother, as a husband. So there are so many roles that he has to play, and that I think will be perhaps more diversely useful in our lives because we do have to play those different roles. So I chose Ram.
Beautifully articulated. In fact, you know how Ramayana writing started, Prabhatji. Rishi Valmiki had a conversation with Narad Muni, and he said, which person, living person, has all these 13 qualities, right? And there it manifests that as a son, as a brother, as a colleague, as a husband, as every role he played, he has shown the best that could have been done, right? And that's why from King Ram, he became Maryada Purushottam Ram for all of us. Can we just unmute one more person, Ankurji?
Okay, SB on screen as a panelist. Go ahead and mute yourself.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi. Sanju, we need to mute some.
Sorry, it's not so clear, the audio. Maybe, are there 2 people talking?
No, I think the audio was not clear because of the internet. Yeah.
All right, there's quite a few people who have given access. Let's just open it up. Next person gets to go. Who's your favorite or most inspiring character from the Ramayana? Somebody said everyone because each one has unique qualities. That's obviously a catch-all answer. We want some specific stuff. Somebody please jump in there. DJG, Dr. Shinoy, Mangalaji, Apurvaji, Ritika, all of you have access. Kumu Gupta ji.
Yeah, I can say. This is
go ahead.
Kumu Gupta from Boston. I would say Kaushalya because she was a good mother. And my personal touch in this is that my Vedic name is Kaushalya, so I like her. So
beautiful. Yeah, and the sacrifice of a lot of such characters like Kaushalya Ma, right, are forgotten normally in the other famous characters. Beautiful. Okay, now so this is one part of a character. Every day we spend a lot of time on each character, dissecting their behavior, their nature, how they performed, how they interacted, and a lot of you will contribute in every session. So that's one more part. Now, one very important part. Now you can all mute yourself. Yeah. One very important part of our session, every session, that during the interaction of a lot of these characters, we try to identify the Rama qualities within us and the Ravana qualities within us. I believe that we have Rama qualities within us and Ravana qualities within us. And our endeavor should be that how can I identify my Rama qualities? How can I identify my Ravana qualities? And the idea is, can I keep increasing my Rama qualities in life and keep decreasing my Ravana qualities, right? And every day, a lot of people in our class come and kill their Ravana within them, right? This is kind of a confession in front of the class, right? And people articulate amazingly well. That's the best learning part from me during the session. And I want to invite some of you, right, when all of you on your screen, that which Ravana quality within you want to kill today. And mind you, I will not get to know who's writing what, right? And you know, someone who has written anger, it's not that you only have anger. Me, Ankurji, we all are suffering from it. Only thing, you are brave enough to just agree to it, right? Greed, ego, laziness. Yeah, keep pouring in, keep
Jayashree
pouring
ji
in.
says actually there's some good qualities around Rona also.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
From
exactly.
inspiring qualities that we were talking about from the previous answer.
Previous
Question.
sense. This is, yeah, beautiful. Krodha, procrastination, ahankar, ego, anger, jealousy, screen time, okay, irrational thinking, arrogance, power hungry, ahankar, ego, materialism, lust, beautiful. So this is also one section that every session we try to do this introspection, right? So this is one part. The last part in our sessions, and we spend almost 2-3 sessions in that, understanding the historicity of Valmiki Ramayana. So you tell me, is it history or myth? Or maybe somewhere in between, right? But you tell me, if I just put a black and white, that it's a myth or a history, just a story, it never happened, or no, it happened. Okay. Let me take you to how Indian knowledge systems are divided. They're divided into Shrutis and Smritis. Right? Shrutis, we have Vedas and Upanishads. The Smritis, we have Itihasa, Purana, and Smriti. And in Itihasa, we have two Itihasa, Valmiki Ramayana and Veda Vyasa Mahabharata. Even Tulsi Ramayana is not Itihasa. Tulsi Ramayana is a good text. Valmiki Ramayana is a Itihasa and Mahabharata is a Itihasa. Veda Vyasa Mahabharata. Now let me tell you the definition of Itihasa. Is it history? History documentation is just one part of Itihasa. Itihasa, the three things together composes what we call Itihasa. Try to listen to it very carefully, the very useful information. So there are three elements which makes a text as Itihasa. First element is Purva Vrittam, meaning it should have happened in Purva, meaning it's a history documentation. It's happened in the past. So that's one proof is if Ramayana is documented under Itihasa, meaning it has happened in the past. It's Purva Vrittam, it has Vrittam in Purva. Kabhi pehle hua hai, it has happened in the past, right? Second element is Katha Yuktam, meaning it is narrated as a story so that it will become popular even after 14,000 years. On a Sunday morning, 130 plus people across the globe will ready to hear about it, right? People will register on the course for 10 weeks, 10 Saturdays, and they will listen about it and discuss about it, right? That's why the Katha Yuktam part. That's why it's popular even in Indonesia, even in Thailand, in multiple formats. Even after 14,000 years, there are 300 different versions of Ramayana and still counting. So first element of Itihasa, Purva Vrittam, means it's a history documentation. Second element of Itihasa, it should be narrated as a story, Katha Yuktam. But is the purpose history documentation only? Is the purpose just entertainment as a story? No, these are just side purposes. The main purpose is the study of the story, listening the story, right? Should give you the sense of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. It's not only for history documentation. It's not only for entertainment as a story. It should teach you the lessons of dharma, artha, kama, moksha. And if any text satisfy these three elements, that it has happened in past, meaning it's a real story, narrated as a story, there is a story element to it, it is communicated in a katha yuktam, in a story format, to make it interesting. But the larger purpose is, can you communicate the lessons from dharma, artha, kama, moksha in it? So this is one of our major elements. We spend almost 1 or 2 classes on the historicity of Ramayana. Who were Vanaras? Were they monkeys or someone else? What about the Pushpak Vimana? Did it really fly? What is the text telling us, right? So lot of such information, After these 10 weeks, my idea is two things. One, you can defend the text of Ramayana outside. You will be a warrior, cultural warrior. Second thing, you will get Ramayana as a framework for you, which will help you in decision making, which will help you whenever you're low, which will help you whenever you're disappointed. See, in that 14 years, whatever Rama did is a lesson for us. Whatever Jatayu did, Lakshman did, Mata Sita did, Vibhishan did is a lesson for us. And we have packed all of that in the course, right? So that's all. That's all from me, Ankurji. If there are any questions, you want to ask anything for the registration course, now back to you.
Great. Yeah, so if you have questions for Shantanuji, please put it in the Q&A box. Try to avoid the chat because it starts to run. It becomes a little bit difficult. Rup Goyalji is asking where that last verse came from, if it was a shloka or where is it from. Yeah, please ask your questions, and then I'll ask a question too if you're interested in enrolling in this course. Please let us know if you have questions. Let's get through them. So again, Shantanuji went over it, right? It's going to be a 10-week course. We're going to have a learning management system. HUA offers it. You sign in, you get your @hua.edu email address. Week by week, you have access to whatever information Shantanuji is sharing, links, readings, videos, the Zoom link, the recordings for the previous week will be accessible. You want to interact live, but in case you can't, we make it so that you can access the recordings of the course. Yes, Anilji, the course is absolutely interactive. Right now we're in a webinar, so you don't get to see everyone's face, and I got to promote you and unmute you. But in the course, it's just going to be a regular Zoom session with Shantanuji as the host, and he'll manage it. So we're also glad to announce a $100 discount until January 11th. We started instituting a $50 late fee so that we could get enrollments earlier than the week after classes start, which was happening. So we've adjusted that. The course fee will be $250, accounting for the late fee, accounting for the discount. It's kind of in between. So please do look at that. I'll drop the exact details and the link to the course in the chat now, but it is going to be on Saturdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time. So Saturdays at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Let me drop that in the chat. Did we have any other questions? Interactive class, yes. Sita Ji, Madan says that's their favorite person. Oh, Ram, so to Thailand, what was, say, the Ramayana or Ram's connection to Thailand and maybe Southeast Asia, if you want to elaborate on that? That's an interesting idea.
In fact, we take one session and we invite some other guest speakers also. What is the expansion of Ramayana outside India? So a lot of traders, India was a trading country, especially in Southeast Asia. And they took the story of Ramayana to a lot of these countries. In Thailand, the Ramayana is called Ramakian. In fact, they had the system of kings still. And their kings are called Rama 1, Rama 2, Rama 3. And the current king is called Rama 10. So Rama is almost become a title for the king there, right? So we spend a lot of time understanding the international roots of Ramayana also. I just give you a brief about Thailand. Yeah.
Yeah, almost like Caesar, huh? Caesar was a name and now means a leader. Very interesting.
Yeah.
Is Sundarkanda part of the original Valmiki Ramayana? Sundarkanda.
So Sundarkand is a part of original Ramayana. Later Tulsi ji wrote it in a poetic way, and Sundarkand, the chanting of Sundarkand is considered very auspicious. Sundarkand is very important kand, and where Hanumanji is searching for Mata Sita. So the search episode is the Sundarkand.
Okay, was Lord Ram? Lord Ram, that's one of those words that Lord, we had a different webinar with who was it, Jeffrey Long, and he went into the etymology, where the word comes from and how Lord is like a Christian word for bread giver. I don't think we should be using the word Lord to describe our Hindu.
Even I try to avoid. Yeah, I normally call Sriram, Bhagwan Ram, but yeah, sometime I get Lord Ram. But yeah, thank you for correcting me. Yeah,
well, Kumuji was also is Lord Ram, is Sriram Surya Vanshi, and what does that even mean?
Suryavanshi. I'm saying they all the dynasty had their guiding star. Let's say the dynasty of Pandavas was Chandra dynasty. It's called lunar dynasty. They're called solar dynasty. So their guiding star was sun. Yeah.
Great. So it won't be a text.
Someone asking, what if we miss some classes? So I think Ankurji already told The recordings are already there and the recordings are stored. You can go back and listen to the recordings, 1.5 hour recording on YouTube, private link. Yeah.
You've been invited to speak at Hindu Parents Network cultural workshop called Beautiful Tree. We'll connect you to HP and admin. Send me an email, and Shantanuji has so much knowledge to share. So we'll set that up. Drop in my email, just send a follow-up on that. Is Yoga Vashista also included in this session or in the class?
Not in detail, but whatever practices Ram and Lakshman did during those 14 years, those practices, including a lot of yoga, learning, meditation, those things we will discuss.
Do we know where else Ramji traveled? Kumuji's asking again, did they actually travel to Thailand?
Yeah, so Ramayana does not give any direct linkages, though when Sugriva is describing the directions, right, for searching Mata Sita, he's describing as far as Sumatra, Java, right? And that is called, in fact, Sugriva's Atlas and the extensive knowledge of the global geography he has.
Great. Prabhuji's Uttarakhand always a part of Ramayana?
So that's quite a longish debate. In fact, we spent almost half an hour to 40 minutes at what is the place of Uttarakhand. A lot of people say it's a later edition, but again, it's a longish answer. We normally answer that in a longish session. We spend almost 8th session or 9th session spending, is Uttarakhand part of Ramayana or not? Yeah, currently I'll keep it open for you.
Great. So the recording, once we get this webinar recorded, we'll upload it and then we'll email it to everyone along with some other details for the course. In the meantime, I dropped HUA's YouTube channel in the chat where you can see some other stuff that we've been doing. That's for Jayashriji. So we got that Uttarakhand. So, age range, in terms of your course, young, old, how are children engaged? I mean, this was fun. I enjoyed it. I think other people will, regardless of age, but if you want to talk about that.
So normally participant as young as 14, 15 to participant very, very old in age, 50, 60, they join the class. So I think age should not be a limit. But again, you can also join with families. That will normally be fun. So age normally should not be a bar. So anyone from 14, 15 to the conversation goes quite deep for even senior participants.
Great. Yeah. So we had 54 people out of the 116 fill out the question. Just please look for it. Enrollment. Are you interested in enrolling in the course? Yes. No is fine also. If you don't want to, just click no so that we know not to call you. Maybe if you have questions, we'll be prepared. That way we can get into that. Oh, Purnima Ji, that's like a course question, top 5 lessons from the Ramayana. Come on. Maybe we can end on that a little bit. We're at 9:53. We still have other questions. Purnima Ji always gets always has good questions, trying to cut to the course of it. We got Krishna Ji. There's a museum being constructed in Ayodhya with the artifacts and relics that have been discovered during the construction of the mandir. Do you want to talk to that? Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yeah, so the land for the museum is allocated and it will have a lot of things. It has have the global footprints of Ramayana and a lot of things that came out of the excavation while making the temple. So it'll be a beautiful museum and the work is already started. Yeah, you're right about that.
Great. We have some people already enrolling. What is this? Yashashwini? I'm sorry, I messed up your name a little bit, Yashashwini. But we don't take PayPal, but we do take Zelle. So that's another alternate option that we do take to avoid the credit card fee and all that stuff. But if you want, just shoot me a specific email and we can do an ACH transfer also if you want to not use your credit card online for whatever reason. But it is easy. We try to make it easy, but yes, there are percentages that are associated with that. And Shantanuji, you're active on Twitter, you have your own website, you're on Facebook and all that stuff. If you want to drop any of that in the chat, Sureshji is kind of asking about your web presence.
Sureshji, that's quite a simple. If you just search me, Shantanu Gupta, Ramayana School, you will get it very easily. In fact, you'll get my phone number also if you spend 10-15 minutes on internet. So you'll find it very easily on my Wikipedia page, my Twitter, luckily verified pages. You'll get it very easily with a 5-minute search on internet.
Great. Urmila is not described in Ramayana, is it? Urmila,
No,
I'm not
no,
sure.
there is description about Urmila, his life after Lakshmana left, and one of the characters that we should learn from. So yeah, we talk about that in our session.
Great. Will there be some course materials that will be shared after each class, before the class, during the class? Again, our learning management system, we call it the LMS. It allows you to log in week by week. It is easy to access. If you haven't taken a course at HUA, I think this is one of those strengths that people continue to enroll. We have had over 500 registrations into our 30 different courses every quarter for the last year. And we're looking to take that next step. And it's been built on the quality of instructor, like Shantanuji, who's been able to offer, and then also our learning management system, which makes things accessible and easy, and recordings and course materials and readings, all of that stuff before, during, after class is accessible. Jayashriji, please do consider enrolling. This might be the course for you. Which text will we need to read for this course? I'm guessing the Ramayana, but I don't know if you want to elaborate on that.
Yeah, so I will give you online links. There are beautiful websites from where you can go through session by session, and I'll provide you in the course material. And as Ankurji said, in the LMS, all those information will be there. So after every session, an emailer will go to you what you have to read, and every session, the session will be there in YouTube if you have missed the class, and session by session detail will be there on the LMS.
Great. And so the first day is going to be January 15th. That's just next Saturday. So we're like 6 days out. So plenty of time still to enroll, but the discount's only good for another day and a half. So make sure that you get that $100 discount. Otherwise, it'll be $350 after about 36 hours or so. Why did Dashratha, King Dashratha, not go with Ram to the forest? Could have, I guess.
That's interesting question. I think he was the king then, right? He passed on the reins to Bharat a little later. So yeah, and there was no circumstance. Otherwise, it was like kind of diluting the Vanvas dharma of Ramji, right? That if you are going along even and with him. So yeah, he did not go.
Yeah, Rakesh is asking about different organizations coming up with their own versions. I mean, part of it is just credibility and just like, what is it called? Literacy, just media literacy, right? Being able to assess who the author is, where they're coming from. And then Shantanuji has already done that work for you. So all of the articles and links that he's putting in there have been vetted to save you that time. But yes, there's of course, lots of information from lots of different perspectives. But as Hindus, we want to accept and at least pay attention to the different perspectives and then use our discretion, our judgment, our thought process to.
In fact, Ankurji, during the class, a lot of participants bring a lot of these elements from different Ramayanas, from Kamman Ramayana, from Adhyatma Ramayana, and we try to juxtapose everything with the original Valmiki Ramayana and try to see how we want to take our Ramayana lessons. So I think that's a very welcome point, which we take normally during classes. People have their own understanding, knowledge, what they heard about Ramayana, and we juxtapose that with Valmiki Ramayana during our sessions.
Yeah, great. Yeah, the timing for this course is set. In future quarters, we may adjust it. I think Shantanuji, this is like the third time you're teaching this course, right?
This will be the fourth. This will be the fourth term. Third term, 3 terms are over. This is the fourth term. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we adjust, quarter to quarter what works with Shantanuji's schedule. If we can adjust according to where people are at in the world and the time zone. This is just how it is this quarter. Apologize if it doesn't work for you, but please look for this course in the future. Thank you for that. Next, we got Umaji. Hindu poet Kumar Vishwas mentioned once his doubt about Uttarkhand was written by Valmiki Ramayana. What is your view? I mean, you've touched on this, right? The authenticity and who's writing and the different versions, and that's part of the course and the conversation that you can get into. We're just at 10 a.m. over here at the top of the hour. Happy to take some more questions, but like these deep questions, that's why we have the course.
In fact, we do discuss Kumar Vishwas because that video of his is quite popular, what Umaji is referring. But as Ankurji said, that's quite a longish explanation through some shlokas in Valmiki Ramayana, that what is our understanding of Uttarakhand and who might have written it. And is it like original part or someone added it later? So yeah, that's a longish conversation, Umaji.
Anonymous, why is Sriram called Ramchandra sometimes when he's from the solar dynasty?
Yeah, I think that's an interesting question. Even I never bothered about it. Yeah, but that's the full name, Sri Ramachandra. That's not like the name of the dynasty should not be the part of the name. So that's just part of his name. Dynasties are like attached to him, like Suryavanshi Ram, right? That kind of a prefix to their names.
Okay. Any thoughts on Love Kush Gand appended to Tulsi Ramayana?
So I think that was what we discussed when we talked about Umaji's question, Uttarakhand, which talked about Lavakusha, but there is a mention of Lavakusha and Balakand also. So we discussed all of that in the course, that what is the validity of Uttarakhand, and if not, what is the story about Lavakush? We discussed all of that in the course, yeah.
Political questions, maybe generally the political aspects and leaders, and like you're asking us to make these dharmic decisions, and how is that applying, and your thoughts, because you're so connected. I'm sure people are curious about your opinion on that. I am.
I know once you study Ramayana, and then I also push people to understand Mahabharata, and with these two itihasa, this will give you a solid framework to take a decision in the given circumstance. Yeah, I think we do take in our class. So let's say if I say I divide the story of Ramayana into 25 sub-stories, and a lot of participants bring in a lot of these political cases, that how a certain politician taken a decision and what Rama could have done, what Krishna could have done. I think we do all of these conversations. So yeah, you'll enjoy such conversations during the course.
Madan, I feel this is targeted at me. What is the correct pronunciation of Ramayana, Dasharatha, Rama, etc.? And maybe if you want to, because different people say with the accent, born in Los Angeles, I talk a little bit differently. And
right. So one is the accent, but do I say Ramayana or do I say Ramayana? Do I say Rama or do I say Ram? So it's not even Ram, it's not Rama, it's somewhere in between. I'll tell you why. There is a half matra, right? How you write Ram? Ra, A, Ma, and Halant. Ma with the Halant is a half matra. And you have to call it Rama. Rama, Dashratha. But again, in north of India, that Rama in Hari become Ram. And in south of India, that Rama become Rama. So it's between Rama and Rama. It's the half matra Rama, Dashratha, Lakshmana. So yeah, if you can practice that restrained, that's the way you have to pronounce it correctly. But good that you asked that question, yeah.
I'm trying, I'm improving.
Yeah.
More conversation on Urmila. I think that was an interesting one that people were, but we answered some of those. Other little factoids about where and how, but I think we got through all of the questions. Great. I have two people who have their hands raised. Pragnesh, but can allow you to talk if you have a specific question. Mangala, I don't know if your hand.
I have actually. Thank you very much, Ankurji. Jai Sriram. I have an answer to the question about Ramchandra.
Okay.
Because Lord Rama was born at midday, as against Sri Krishna, who was born at midnight, the moon felt ill. That why was I not being favored this time? And then Lord Rama said that, okay, don't worry, I will always keep you with me as a suffix to my name. That's why it is Ramchandra.
Okay, that's an interesting anecdote. Though these conversations are not part of Valmiki Ramayana, but yeah, there are a lot of Puranic references also to Ramayana. Maybe one of the Puranic references might be narrating what Pragnesh said. Yeah.
Thank you very much for giving opportunity. And it is fantastic that I am allowed to attend such programs. Thank you.
Thank you for attending. It's not being allowed to, it's us building this opportunity. And thank you for participating and sharing and asking a question. Mithika Ji is asking about the management aspect of the course. I thought we've gone into a lot of the details about how it's kind of organized, structured, laid out, but it's up to you to manage your own time, right? You can read more and do extra research or just show up to the course, but that kind of management is going to be on your end. But maybe course or like homework information or grading or something like that you might want to speak to.
So I think HUA has designed, I have taken this course on multiple platforms. HUA's platform is amazing. They will give you an LMS system. All of you will get an email ID, you'll get access to it. And these 10 sessions, you'll get 10 entries. every 10 entry will have a Zoom session, live Zoom session with me. And after the class, there is a email ID group. All of that we talk a lot. All of our participants do counter to each other, and we discuss each and every class. We do a lot of puzzles exercise after each class. And if you have missed the class, there's a YouTube link, private link that you can access only through the LMS HUA channel, that you can watch the class. That's how we manage each and every class. Every class normally lasts for 1.5 to 2 hours. And that's how, and we interact a lot. We talk a lot among us, because finally it's a small class when we study.
Great. And maybe taking it to the broader level, how is this going to impact and help people in their day-to-day lives, in their business management aspects? And, you know, maybe now is a good time to start wrapping up. If we have other questions, we'll plug them in. But I think we've answered the questions. We had 66 people out of 77 fill out the question. 18 people said yes, they're interested in enrolling. 19 said maybe. So hopefully we'll have a nice big 30, 40, 50% class that we can have a lot of engaging conversations in. But I think we're coming to the end of this program. So Shantanu, let me hand it back to you for some closing thoughts and application of this to daily lives, business management, and then however else you want to send folks off.
As I told Ankurji, I think the most interesting part for me engaging with Ramayana with the last many years is that in that 14 years, Rama faced almost every possible tough challenge in life. See, he was about to become a king the next day, but he was sent to exile. Remember, like, imagine you are about to get promoted the next day, you're about to become the CEO the next day, but you'll get to know, no, let alone the CEO, you're getting fired, right? He's being exiled. That's one. After almost 13 years into the exile was anyway tough. Don't know where to live tomorrow, don't know where to sleep tomorrow, don't know what to eat tomorrow, a lot of demons. Okay, I faced all of that. After 13 years, my wife got kidnapped, right? So I lost my kingdom, I lost my wife. Okay, that's fine. I found companions like Sugriv and Hanuman. I built a bridge with the help. I am now fighting with the mighty army of Ravana, and I died twice. Not died, like almost died. Rama was almost died once in the hands of Indrajit, almost twice. So I lost my kingdom, I lost my wife, I was about to lose my life. Can you think the challenges of our life can be bigger than this? I guess not, right? And even then, not for a day Rama lost his honesty. Not for a day Rama took a shortcut. Not for a day Rama aberrated from his goodness. And in the end, who won? In the end, Rama won. After 14,000 years, whom are we talking about on a Sunday morning? Ramachandra, right? And that's the biggest, and these conversations Rama is having with various people on the journey, which makes him from King Ram, and he in fact graduates himself from King Ram to Bhagwan Ram, the Sriram, right? That journey is a lot of lessons, management lessons, life lessons, decision making lessons that we'll try to communicate during our 10 sessions. Yeah, that's this. With this, I want to end, Guruji.
Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. Dhanyavad. Always a pleasure. See you next Saturday in the course, hopefully. Namaste.
Namaste, everyone. Namaste.